Which would you rather fight? 1 horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? Hey fish friends, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Zenzo from Tazawa Tanks, and I thought it would be fun to answer some viewer questions. So I made a community post, and a lot of you had some great questions for me to answer, so we're gonna get into those today and have a little bit of fun. Before I go on, I do want to pause right here and thank the sponsor of this video. Now you might have guessed it by looking at this cool t-shirt that I'm wearing. This is one of my favorite t-shirts. It's actually from my favorite t-shirt brand, Into the AM, and they are the sponsor of this video. Into the AM is a team of artists and creators that formed an apparel company to share a common vision of developing premium apparel that elevates self-expression while focusing on comfort by using the highest quality materials and eco-friendly inks. Into the AM has dozens of cool designs to choose from, covering many categories including t-shirts and tank tops, hoodies and jackets, hats, and even joggers and shorts. Use the link and discount code below to shop at Into the AM and find your clothing piece to express what drives you. Thank you to Into the AM again, and check out their link down below. Based on all of the shop, farm, or fish room tours on the co-op over the years, what is your top 3 for I'd like to magically teleport there and visit that place today? There are a few actually, so I would say that one that would be high on my list, or probably the top of my list, is I would love to go to East Africa and visit the Rift Lakes and see the African cichlids in their natural environment in Lake Tanganyika or in Lake Malawi. We had a speaker at the Aquarium Co-op Club, Pam Chin, who's well known in the cichlid community and has traveled to East Africa many, many times and documented that. And I would love to be able to go to the places that she filmed and see the fish in the wild. Another place I would like to go is I would love to go to South America and see the fish in Peru. I had an opportunity that I wasn't able to go back in 2021, and I'm still very, bummed that I wasn't able to make that trip. So hopefully in the near future, I'll get to go to South America and collect some fish in the wild. And also I would love to go to Asia and see some of the fish farms and the markets and all that kind of stuff. So you've seen probably the videos on the Aquarium Co-op channel about Corey's visits to China. So that looks very intriguing to me, and that's another place that I would like to go. So Africa, East Africa, South America, and Asia. York Aquariums asked, if you could only keep one style of tank, African cichlids, planted community, wet pets, or oddballs like your mud skippers, what would you choose? What style do you feel you get the most enjoyment out of in the hobby, and for what reason? That is a very, very difficult question, which is one of the reasons why I have a room full of fish tanks, so I don't have to make that choice, and I can enjoy different types of fish from different types of waters from different parts of the world and just get to sit in here and enjoy all of them. However, if I had to choose, which is very difficult, we're talking about a tank. What style of tank? So keep that in mind. I would probably go for a very large community tank for East African cichlids. So if I were able to somehow have like I don't know, 300 or 400 gallon aquarium that has probably fish from Lake Malawi and fish from Lake Tanganyika combined, maybe even some Victorian cichlids, that would be what I would choose because of the behavior, the activity, the color. I just love African cichlids. So despite the fact that I've done a lot more besides African cichlids over the past few years, I still really, really enjoy them. And if I had to choose, I would probably do some giant community tank that was scaped with rocks and different things and just have fun with that one tank. What was a moment in your aquarium hobby history that made you truly fall in love with it and make it your lifestyle and passion? So it is my lifestyle, it is my way of making a living, it is my passion. I've loved fish for a long, long time. So I would say that I first fell in love with fish as a child when I would go to the public aquarium here in San Francisco and see these amazing exhibits. But that doesn't really count because I was a little kid and I knew nothing about fish keeping or anything. So if I were to not include that, I would say that it probably really took a hold of me right before my oldest daughter was born. She's 22 now, if you want to age how old I am. So she's 22 now. I was pretty young. But anyway, she's 22 now, so that would have been like 23 years ago or something. When I remember I remember liking tanks as a kid. I had tanks before. And then when I was in my mid-20s, I'm like, I really want to get an aquarium. And I found this very cool acrylic tank on Craigslist, and it came with a bunch of stuff, and I just kind of jumped right into the hobby again and started doing all the crazy stuff that all of you still do now. So that would be the time when it really like clicked for me, and all of a sudden I had 1 tank, 2 tanks, 3 tanks, and you know, here we are. So yeah, I would say like 20 something years ago when I was searching on Craigslist and I found this tank, I was like, oh, that's the one I want. In your entire time and career in the hobby, is there anything you would have done differently earlier on knowing what you know now? And yes, there are many, many things that I would do differently knowing what I know now versus a long time ago, or even just a few years ago. Even setting up this room, which was not that long ago. So one thing that I would do differently is probably spend more time researching what I was going to spend money on. I wasted a lot of money, as a lot of you do as well, I'm sure. I bought so much equipment and stuff that I no longer use. I've given it away, I've thrown it away, I've donated stuff. So there's probably thousands of dollars worth of stuff that I just don't use anymore. So that would be one thing. The other thing that I would say is I wish I thought a little bit more about keeping a lot of aquariums, the amount of time and energy that it takes, and making it easier from the beginning. One of those would be like with an auto water change system. So I don't have an auto water change system, so all these tanks down here I change manually. And while I do enjoy it, sometimes it's a lot of work. And I wish that, you know, if I had a time machine, I would go back before I started doing all this crazy stuff, and I would have drilled tanks and set up some intricate filtering system to handle the chloramine that we have here and our tap water, and have an auto water change system. So that was what I would do differently, besides not wasting so much money. You've been with the co-op, I work for Aquarium Co-op, for a minute now. I know your schedule has to be crazy. Do you ever get burnout from the hobby? The day-to-day of fish keeping versus fish business? Yes, I would say that I do get burnout from time to time. Not so much with actually keeping the fish. In fact, sometimes when I come down here and I know that I don't have to do any work, I can just sit in here, relax, feed some fish, listen to podcasts, maybe do a little bit of water changing or something like that. I know that's work, but you know, it's fun work. That I really enjoy. So I don't get burnout as far as enjoying my fish tanks. I think I get a little burnout sometimes with maybe the volume of fish tanks that I have and the amount of work that it takes to take care of them, hence that auto water change comment earlier. But really, honestly, not to make anyone like feel bad, the biggest burnout is probably making videos. Not that I don't enjoy interacting with you guys and making videos and having fun, but when you do it every week for years and years and years, and you've made 400 or 500 videos or whatever it is at this point, you kind of run out of things to talk about that are new and fresh and exciting. Maybe you guys feel the same on my channel, but yeah, I would say that's probably the hardest part, is just like picking up the camera every week and saying, hey fish friends, 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 how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Today we're doing this. This next question is from Evan Rifkin, who I believe I've met in person at an Aquashella event, which I will be speaking at an Aquashella event in May 2023 in Dallas on the Sunday. All right, question is, what's it like balancing your own channel with working for Aquarium Co-op? I don't know, honestly. I feel like, to be honest, I probably spend more, well, not probably, I completely spend more time working with the Aquarium Co-op channel and Aquarium Co-op, because that is my job. That's what pays for me to live and eat and house and, you know, have stuff. So, you know, this channel is just kind of more of a supplemental income kind of thing. So I don't take it as seriously as I do working for Aquarium Co-op. So that's why every once in a while I'll skip a video because I'm too busy. So I try to balance it though. And it is a good kind of way of me letting loose a little bit with videos or with content, because you know, like I could just vlog and do stuff with this channel where I don't do that on the other channel. So overall I think it's working well, and maybe if I continue to optimize tanks down here and make them a little bit easier, which is kind of the theme that you might have heard over the past couple of months, then it will be a little bit more enjoyable for me. I always see African cichlids in groups. Sometimes I wonder if it's possible to keep just one as a pet fish. Is that possible, or could it be too stressful for the fish? Yes, it is very possible. I've seen it done. I've done it before. When I've done it, I've usually done it in more temporary situations. I did it back when I was breeding fish, so I would keep a male separately, like in a 29 or some kind of, whatever, a separate aquarium. And then I would move him in with the females when it was time to spawn. Then I'd move him back out when I wanted to give them a break. And the male was fine, plenty of food and no one to fight. So, it's healthy. I don't know if he was happy or not. He didn't sit on my couch and tell me his problems, but yeah, it looked fine, looked healthy. I've done it before. Obviously, if I've had a fish that was getting beat up, I would let it, be alone in another tank for a few months and it was fine. So usually when you see them in groups, it's because, one, it's hard to keep just a few. So generally with African cichlids, you want a larger aquarium. If you have a larger aquarium that's say, 40, 55 gallons, 75, whatever, you're gonna want more than just one fish in that big tank by itself. If you have just a few, then they tend to beat each other up and sometimes kill each other. So then you have a whole bunch of them, because then one fish can't get picked on as easily and the aggression is spread out or dispersed. So that's usually why you see multiple African cichlids in one tank. But yes, you could have one alone. If I were to do it alone, I'd probably have like a 40 breeder or something and just have one, whatever it was, a peacock or something, and just make sure that it's healthy and happy and well fed. And it's not going to have the same interaction with other fish. It's not going to be able to spawn or do all that kind of stuff, but it probably would be okay. If you could only keep one fish, what would it be? How about spaces? Here I'm going to go with a pond living in a tropical environment like Hawaii. So for those of you that don't know, I have family in Hawaii. When I go to visit, I always see fish and ponds, and in those ponds, you'll see African cichlids. I would have an African cichlid pond. And that's technically one type of fish, right? And just like Malawi cichlids, in a pond, outside, they could graze off the algae, they can eat food that I feed them. I wouldn't have a mosquito problem because they would eat the larvae, and they would be colorful. They would enjoy it because it's warm, and I could sit outside and look at the beautiful fish in the pond. That's my final answer. The last question, Daniel White asks, which would you rather fight? One horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? 100%, I would rather fight 100 duck-sized horses. Now, I don't want to fight a horse, and I don't want to fight a duck, but birds can be quite mean, especially when they're larger. If anyone's ever been chased by a rooster or a goose when you were a kid, or hit in the head by a crow that would fly by and knock your hat off, that used to happen to me when I was in middle school, walking to school. Birds are mean, right? They're like mini dinosaurs, depending on where you feel about certain dinosaurs. But basically, yes, I want nothing to do with a bird that's larger than me or even half the size of me. No, thank you. Definitely, I'll take little horses all day long. Well, there you go. Those were some of the questions that a lot of you had to ask of me. Hopefully you had some fun with this. Let me know down below in the comments. Do you like this? Should we do it more often? I could do these like once every couple months, have a little bit of fun and answer your questions. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video, give it a thumbs up, all that good stuff. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and check out this video. We'll catch you on the next one.